Was it too short and you wanted it to last a lot longer? Stick with me and I'll tell you how to fix that. First thing you want to take into consideration is with any action camera, whether it's a GoPro, Insta360, or something similar to that with an internal battery, the very most you're going to get is about an hour 15 to about an hour and a half worth of record time. And that's with the internal battery. If it's hot out or cold out, you're going to get a little bit less potentially. If you don't have the right settings, you're certainly going to get a lot less. I'll talk about my settings too. Beyond that, you're going to need a means to charge the battery and record at the same time. You're going to need an external battery, a means to attach that to your bike, and the correct cabling and pass-through door to be able to charge the camera. I'm going to show you those items that I have on the different cameras. We'll move inside to do that. Okay folks, we're inside now. We're going to talk about the camera platforms that I use and then the other accessories that you're going to need to be able to capture longer format videos and the other connectors you're going to need to be able to do that, and some settings as well. So the very first camera that I'm using on the right hand side, your left, would be the Insta360 Ace Pro. Had this about 2 months now. The longest ride I've done is about 2.5 hours with it and was able to capture the entire ride using the settings and the external battery. In the middle, I have the GoPro 12, and I've been using GoPro for quite a while now. GoPros have been my go-to cameras, and they work out well. The next thing, and probably the most important thing you need, irrespective of whatever camera you're going to use, is a battery to be able to power and record at the same time. This is a 5,000 milliamp battery. It works out real nice, and it works on all these cameras. It has a standard USB-A and then a USB-C to charge in this case. All the stuff I'm showing, I'm going to have links to down below. These are things you're going to need if you want to record long format videos. So as far as being able to attach the battery to my bike, is I did a 3D printed design that the battery slides into. And then it can slide back and forth. You tighten it down depending on the length of your stem. It mounts underneath the stem. I'll show a picture of that here. And I use zip ties just to do that with. You can slide it back and forth depending on the position of your stem and where it needs to be. This works on about a 100 millimeter stem, a little bit or bigger. Smaller might be a little bit of an issue, but you can still adjust it back and forth. Works on my flat top on my truck and Honda pretty well. Occasionally, if I'm using it for a mountain bike, and I'm using a hydration pack, I can zip tie it to the hydration pack or throw it in the pocket of a hydration pack, whatever works. Going over to the Insta360, the biggest thing you're going to need to do is you're going to have a pass-through door of some nature to be able to charge the camera. In this case, you're going to purchase one of these, which is an external mic adapter, and then you're going to pop off your battery door, slide this in, snap it in all the way, and then you would plug your USB-C cable into this and then into your battery and be able to charge. The biggest thing with this external mic adapter is there's a auxiliary jack. You're going to want to cover that up with tape. If you don't do that, you run the risk of getting water into your camera and potentially causing issues. So I would definitely make sure you cover that up. I have not used this in a long ride that's been wet or muddy or anything of that nature, so I can't tell you 100% sure the waterproofness of it, but I think it's going to be okay if you cover that up, like I said. Moving on to the GoPro, same thing. You're going to need a pass-through door. GoPro sells these, or you can get some aftermarket ones. Same type of idea. It's got a pass-through. You would snap that on and then be able to plug your camera into that and then into the battery to be able to charge. The biggest thing with this is I usually throw some tape on it, and I've run this in a bunch of different wet, muddy, torrential downpour type events. One that I'll show you right now was a long road race, about 2 hours, and it was pretty miserable. You couldn't see 50 feet in front of you to know if you were actually chasing somebody or if they were 3 miles down the road. It was that bad, but it was fun, I guess. One thing nice about GoPro is they've come out with something new with the GoPro 13. It's called the Contacto, and what it is it's a different type of battery door that you would slide on, and you'll notice it's got some contact points. Those contact points are for this adapter. They have this shorter one that you plug a USB into. They have a medium-sized one, and then a very, very long one. With this, the nice thing about it is it's magnetic, which is nice because it slaps on, and then the biggest thing with this is you don't lose the waterproof ability of your camera. With this being on the outside, the GoPro, with a pass-through door on any of these cameras, potentially you're going to lose the waterproofness of it. The biggest thing I would say with this though is slap some tape on it, electrical tape or whatever, just to make sure this stays on. I'm not sure if this will stay on in a gravel race, mountain bike thing, but I will tell you if this cable is loose or anything like that, or you're using a longer cable and you don't tie it up and it catches on something, any of them are going to pop off. So throw some tape on it, save yourself some grief down the road. So yes, that's it. The Contacto, that's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. I'm really going to like that. I think that's going to work out well. With any of these cameras, the settings that I would use are 4K, 30 frames per minute, and you're also going to want to make sure you get a bigger SD card, 256 gigabytes, 512, or a terabyte size. Go to the vendor site for the cameras, see which one they recommend the best, and get one of those. If you don't do that, you run the risk of having issues with the camera shutting off, freezing, or having problems. Get the ones they recommend, and you shouldn't have those problems. The other thing I would say too, with any of these setups, as far as using the external battery or the internal battery, some things that I'm going to recommend to do are shut off the Wi-Fi, shut off the Bluetooth, and shut off any GPS. If you shut off all those sensors, you're going to get a longer battery life. That's how I'm getting that hour and a half consistently. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But if you don't shut those things off, you're not going to get the hour and 15 even. You're going to get a lot less. With the Insta360 Ace Pro, turn off the AI feature. If you don't do that, that battery is going to go pretty fast. Those are the settings I use. Those are the items I use. Again, links down below if you want to support the channel. I'd appreciate that. Other than that, get out and ride your bike.